My name is Sarah Chen, and 5 years ago I discovered that my daughter Maya is autistic. What I didn't expect was how much she would fight against this truth, and how much I would too. Mom, why do I have to go see Dr. Martinez today? Maya asks while we're brushing our teeth on an ordinary Tuesday morning in our Lincoln Square home in Chicago. She's 9 years old and hugs everyone she meets. Asks a million questions a day, and has the purest heart I've ever known. She's also terrified of dogs, gets overwhelmed by the noise of motorcycles on Clark Street, and has been in therapy since she was 4. Something she rejects with every fiber of her being. It's just a conversation, sweetheart, I reply, watching how she meticulously organizes her school supplies. 3 pencils lined up, eraser in the upper right corner of her pencil case, planner open to the right page. This organization gives me comfort, but it also reminds me how her world needs to be predictable to make sense. The truth is more complex. Maya was diagnosed with level 1 autism, what we used to call Asperger's syndrome. Her brain processes information differently, especially when it comes to socialization and sensory processing. Medical literature explains that differences in connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and amygdala affect how she regulates emotions. When Maya has an anxiety attack, it's not just drama. Her nervous system is literally in hyperactivation. But how do you explain this to a 9-year-old who just wants to be like her friends? I don't need therapy, Mom. There's nothing wrong with me. Her voice carries a determination that breaks my heart. Maya talks normally, has brilliant intelligence, but struggles with social cues that others pick up instinctively. At City Elementary School, where we specifically enrolled her for neurodivergent children, in Hyde Park, she still constantly compares herself to neurotypical peers from other schools. The drive to Dr. Martinez's office at North Shore Pediatric Therapy is always tense. Maya counts the red lights. There are always 7 from our house to there, and covers her ears when we pass the construction on Montrose. Why are motorcycles so loud, Mommy? She doesn't know that her brain processes low-frequency sounds differently, that her brainstem and auditory cortex have altered neural connections that make engine noises particularly problematic. Some sounds are louder for you, Maya. That's normal. Normal. A word we use so much, trying to define boundaries in a world where neurodiversity is still seen as the exception. In the office, Maya shrinks into the beige chair. Dr. Martinez, a gentlewoman with 15 years of autism experience, tries to connect by asking about the new book Maya's reading. She devours books about astronomy, but Maya crosses her arms and mumbles, "I don't want to talk about it." Maya has rejected 3 different therapists in the past 6 months. I explain to the doctor when Maya steps out for water. She says she doesn't need fixing because she's not broken. And maybe she's right. But the anxiety attacks are getting worse. Last week, she cried for 2 hours because a golden retriever barked at her at Lincoln Park Zoo. Dr. Martinez takes careful notes. She explains that intense fear of animals in autistic children has neurological bases. The hyperactive amygdala causes fear memories to be intensified and harder to extinguish. Approximately 30% of autistic children also receive clinical phobia diagnoses. And animal phobias are extremely common, Sarah. At 9 years old, Maya is developing greater awareness of her differences. It's natural that she resists the autistic label. It represents her attempt to find her own identity and move toward independence. She explains. The resistance can even be adaptive. It's a form of self-advocacy. When Maya returns, she has tears in her eyes. "I just want to be normal, Mom. Why can't I be like Emily from my dance class?" Emily lives in our neighborhood and goes to a regular school. Maya doesn't understand why she needs special accommodations. Why noise-canceling headphones? Why structured routines? If you're a parent of an autistic child who struggles against their diagnosis, know that you're not alone. The journey of acceptance, both for the child and the family, is a process that requires patience, understanding, and lots of love. Stay with us in this story to discover how Maya and our family learned to navigate this path. Maya refuses to talk more during the appointment, but Dr. Martinez gives me precious information. Studies show that after 5 years of intensive therapy, like Maya has had, 80% of children develop effective verbal speech, and 46% achieve age-appropriate daily living activities. But what the numbers don't show is the emotional struggle of a child who doesn't want to accept that she needs support. On the way home, Maya finally speaks. "Mom, if I say I accept going to therapy, will you stop being sad?" My heart breaks a little more. She notices my pain, my frustration, my constant worry. But she also gives me hope. Maya cares. Maya wants to protect me. Even while fighting against her own identity, she still has this deep empathy that always surprises me. "I'm not sad with you, my love. I'm learning alongside you." It's the most honest truth I can offer in this moment. It was a Thursday morning when everything fell apart. Maya and I were at the Brown Line station on Western, coming back from our weekly appointment at CST Academy in Northbrook. One of the few clinics in Chicago she still tolerated. The train arrived with that deafening metallic noise that echoes through the city's elevated structures. Maya froze. Her hands flew to her ears, and she started rocking back and forth. "It's too loud, Mom, it's too loud." Her voice came out in a desperate whisper while tears streamed down her face. Other passengers stared, some with compassion, others with impatience. A woman in a suit whispered something about poorly behaved children to her friend. I wanted to explain that Maya's brain processes sounds differently, that her auditory filtering system can't separate the train noise from other sounds around us. I wanted to shout that my daughter isn't throwing a tantrum. She's in genuine sensory agony. But Maya heard her. "I'm not poorly behaved," she said, looking directly at the woman. "My brain just works differently. The doctor said so." For a moment, I felt proud. Maya was defending herself, using information she'd learned in therapy. But then she added, with a broken voice, "But I wish it didn't work differently." We managed to board the train, Maya with the noise-canceling headphones we always carry in our bag. She calmed down gradually, but remained quiet during the entire 35-minute ride to our house. I knew this episode would be processed and reprocessed in her mind for days. Autistic children often have delayed emotional processing. It can take hours or even days for them to understand and articulate what they felt. That night, Maya refused dinner. "I'm not hungry," she mumbled, hugging her stuffed bear. A self-comfort ritual she's maintained since she was little. I try not to force these situations. Literature shows that autistic children can have resistance even to internal demands like hunger, especially when they're emotionally overloaded. "Want to talk about what happened today?" I asked, sitting beside her on the bed. "Why do I have to be like this, Mom?" Her question echoed through the room. Emily never has to cover her ears on the train. Sophia never cries at the zoo when she sees a dog. Why am I the weird one? The word weird cut through me like a knife. Maya, at 9 years old, had already internalized the social stigma about autism. Studies show that autistic children have 4 times the risk of developing anxiety and depression, especially when they can't positively integrate their diagnosis into their personal identity. "You're not weird, Maya. Your brain is like a super-sensitive computer. It picks up more information than other brains, but sometimes that gets heavy to process. I try to use analogies that make sense to her logical mind. But I don't want a super-sensitive computer. I want a normal computer. Her frustration was palpable. Maya was expressing something that child psychologists identify as grief for neurotypicality. The process of an autistic child mourning not being neurotypical. 2 days later, we returned to Lincoln Park Zoo, one of the places Maya both loves and fears the most. She adores facts about animals, memorizes information about each species, but has physical terror of any animal that moves unpredictably. We were near the sea lion exhibit when a service golden retriever passed by us. The dog was perfectly trained, walking calmly beside its owner, but Maya went into immediate panic. Her whole body stiffened. She started crying uncontrollably and tried to hide behind me. "He's going to hurt me, Mom. I know he's going to hurt me." Her words came out choppy between sobs. The interesting thing is that Maya has never been attacked by a dog. Her phobia doesn't come from direct trauma, but from neurological differences that make her amygdala process situations as threatening, even when they're safe. The dog's owner approached gently. "Can I help? Is she afraid of dogs?" "My daughter is autistic," I explained quietly, "and has a specific phobia of animals. It's nothing personal." "Oh, I understand completely. My nephew is the same way." The woman addressed Maya directly, speaking in a calm tone. "Hi, sweetie. This is Max, and he's working right now, so he won't move or make noise. Would you like us to move away a bit so you feel safer?" Maya nodded, still trembling, but then she asked, "Why doesn't he bark?" "Because he's a service dog. He helps me when I have anxiety attacks, like you have." It was the first time I saw Maya consider that other people also had challenges, even if different from hers. "Do you get nervous sometimes too?" "Yes, sweetie. Everyone gets nervous in different ways. Max helps me feel calmer." We talked for a few more minutes, at a safe distance, and Maya asked several questions about service dogs. On the way home, she remained thoughtful. "Mom, if other people also need help with things, then maybe it's not so bad that I need help too." "Exactly, love. Everyone needs different types of support. Some need glasses to see. Others use wheelchairs to move around. You use headphones to deal with loud sounds. They're just different tools." "But why do people look at me weird when I use the headphones?" Her question left me speechless for a moment. How do you explain to a 9-year-old that we live in a society that's still learning about neurodiversity? That many people don't understand that neurological differences are natural and valid. Sometimes people stare because they don't know about autism. But that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means they need to learn more. That night, Maya drew a picture of a girl wearing headphones on a colorful train. In the drawing, all the other people also wore different types of support tools: glasses, canes, hearing aids. This is how the world should be, Mom. Everyone using what they need. I kept that drawing as a treasure. It was the first sign that Maya was beginning to imagine a world where her differences could be accepted, where she could be autistic without shame. But we still had a long way to go. "Mrs. Chen, we need to talk about Maya." The voice of Ms. Johnson, the academic coordinator at City Elementary School, sounded serious over the phone. It was a Tuesday in March, and I knew this call wouldn't bring good news. Maya studied at City Elementary precisely because it's a neurodiversity affirming school in Hyde Park, designed for academically capable children with ADHD and autism. We chose this school because they promised to understand children like Maya. Apparently, understanding was still a work in progress. "What happened?" I asked, already mentally canceling work meetings. "Maya had an episode during PE class today. She refused to participate in the basketball game, started crying when the teacher insisted, and ended up hiding under the gym bleachers for 40 minutes. Episode. The word irritates me deeply. As if Maya's reactions were theatrical performances instead of genuine responses from an overloaded nervous system. At the meeting that afternoon, I found Maya sitting in the chair next to the coordinator's desk, nervously swinging her legs. A clear sign that she was in a heightened state of alert. Her eyes were red, indicating she had been crying recently. "Hi, sweetheart. How are you feeling?" I asked, sitting beside her. "I didn't want to play basketball, Mom. It's too noisy, and people run close to me." Her voice was low but clear. Maya could always articulate exactly what bothered her. An advantage of having level 1 autism, combined with high verbal ability. Ms. Johnson leaned forward. "Maya, honey, all students need to participate in physical education activities. It's part of the school curriculum." But my ears hurt when the ball hits the floor many times. "And I'm afraid someone will bump into me by accident." Maya looked at her hands while speaking, a sign that she was feeling judged. I intervened. "Ms. Johnson, Maya's IEP specifies that she should have sensory accommodations. A gym with 30 children running and shouting is exactly the type of environment that can cause sensory overload for her. I understand your concerns, Mrs. Chen, but Maya needs to learn to adapt to challenging situations. She can't spend her life avoiding discomfort." That phrase made me furious. I wasn't talking about discomfort. I was talking about a child with real neurological differences, trying to navigate an environment that her brain processes as threatening. Maya's brain processes sensory information differently, I explained, trying to keep my voice calm. When she says sounds hurt her ears, it's not an exaggeration. Research shows that 18 to 40% of autistic children have auditory hypersensitivity due to differences in auditory processing in the brainstem and cortex. Maya looked at me with an expression I couldn't decipher. Later, I would discover she was proud to see me defending her experiences, but also embarrassed to be the center of a discussion about her differences. "Can I speak?" Maya asked quietly. "Of course, sweetie," Ms. Johnson replied. "I don't want to be different. I try really hard to participate in everything, but sometimes my body won't let me. It's like my brain gets too full, and I can't think straight." She paused, looking at both of us. "When that happens, I just need a quiet place to calm down. I'm not trying to be difficult." My heart broke and filled with pride simultaneously. Maya was learning to self-advocate, explaining her needs clearly and maturely. Ms. Johnson seemed genuinely touched. "Maya, thank you for explaining that to me. I think we can find a better solution for physical education." We developed a plan. Maya would participate in physical activities in smaller groups, have access to noise-canceling headphones during loud games, and could use the school's sensory room when she needed a break to On the way home, Maya was quiet. Finally, she spoke. "Mom, why is it so hard for people to understand that I can't do certain things?" "Because many people still don't know about autism," I replied. "They see a smart girl who speaks well and assume you should be able to do everything other children do. But I can do many things other children can't. I know the names of all the constellations, I can calculate mentally, and I can hug people even when I'm sad." She was right. Maya had incredible abilities, exceptional memory for facts, ability to hyperfocus on subjects of interest, deep empathy. But our society tends to focus on what autistic children can't do, instead of celebrating their unique strengths. You're absolutely right, love. You're amazing at so many things. The problem isn't you. It's that the world is still learning to value different types of brains. I wish my brain was easier to understand. I understand, Maya, but you know what I want. I want the world to become easier for you to navigate. And I think that will happen, especially if you keep explaining your needs like you did today at school. A few weeks later, we received a different call from Ms. Johnson. Maya had volunteered to give a presentation about astronomy to her class, and it was so successful that other classes asked to watch it too. She was completely at ease. Mrs. Chen. She spoke for 20 minutes about black holes without consulting any notes. The other children were fascinated. It was a powerful reminder of the exceptional abilities Maya has. Maya came home beaming that day. Mom, when I talk about astronomy, I feel normal. Actually, I feel special in the good way. What do you mean, love? Special because I know interesting things. Not special because I need extra help. That distinction impacted me deeply. Maya was beginning to understand that there were two ways to be special. One that made her feel inadequate, and another that made her feel valued for her unique abilities. You've always been special in the good way, Maya. Sometimes we just need to help other people see that too. That night, Maya wrote in her diary. A habit she'd developed to process emotions. Today, I felt proud to be myself. Maybe being different isn't always bad. It was small but significant progress. Maya was beginning to imagine an autistic identity that included not just challenges, but also special gifts. The fear of animals was something that had followed Maya since she was very little, like a shadow that always appeared at the most unexpected moments. It was a sunny June afternoon, and Lincoln Square Community Park was full of families enjoying the pleasant weather. I had promised Maya that after school we'd have a picnic, just the two of us, to celebrate the good presentation she'd given about black holes in her classroom. We set up our blanket under the shade of a tree and opened the basket with juices, fruits, and her favorite cookies. Everything seemed peaceful, until a loose dog started running in our direction. To me, it was just an excited golden retriever, wagging its tail. But to Maya, it was chaos about to explode. Her eyes widened, her breathing accelerated immediately, and within seconds she was crouched behind me, hands pressing firmly against her ears, as if she could block out the world. Mom, make it stop, please, make it stop. Her voice came out in choppy screams, while tears flowed uncontrollably. The dog didn't come close, was quickly redirected by its owner. But for Maya, the simple sound of paws against grass and distant barking were enough to trigger a neurological storm. She fell into a panic attack, body rigid, irregular sobs, repeating short phrases. He's going to bite. He's going to bite. He's going to bite. In the minutes that followed, nothing else mattered except helping her regulate her overloaded system. I put noise-canceling headphones on her ears, gently held her hands, and began breathing slowly and exaggeratedly, so she could mirror my rhythm. It's okay, Maya. He's gone now. You're safe. You're just with me. I repeated like a mantra, until gradually, the crying gave way to choppy breaths, and then to tense silence. Still trembling, she managed to whisper, "Mom, why don't they understand that animals scare me so much? Everyone thinks I should like them." That phrase cut right through me. The world expected Maya to handle situations that for her were equivalent to facing an earthquake. It wasn't being fussy, it wasn't exaggeration. It was the neurological translation of the unexpected and uncontrollable. Later, at home, she wrote in her diary. Today, the dog almost ruined my blue sky. I wish I could not be afraid, but my body won't let me. I just wish people would believe me. That crisis was tough, but it also revealed a truth we need to repeat. When fear paralyzes, it's not lack of courage, it's the brain calling for help. And giving Maya tools to deal with this terror was part of the journey of teaching the world that neurodiversity isn't weakness, but a different way of existing. The turning point came on a Saturday afternoon in April, at the Shed Aquarium. Maya loves fish. She knows details about hundreds of marine species, but we always visit during less crowded hours to avoid sensory overload. The aquarium has a calm waters program specifically for families with autistic children, with limited capacity and reduced lighting. We were watching the jellyfish when a family approached. The boy looked about 12 years old and wore noise-canceling headphones very similar to Maya's. He was also swaying slightly. A repetitive behavior common in autistics, known as stimming. Maya noticed immediately. "Mom, he uses headphones like mine." "Yes, it looks like it," I replied, curious to see how she would react. The boy approached the glass next to Maya. "Did you know jellyfish don't have brains?" he said, without looking directly at her. A typical communication pattern of many autistic children. Maya lit up instantly. "I know. And they've existed for over 500 million years, even before dinosaurs." "Exactly. And the Australian box jellyfish has enough venom to kill 60 adult people." The two began a fascinating conversation about jellyfish, sharing obscure facts that only children with intense special interests would know. It was the first time I saw Maya interact naturally with another child without forcing eye contact or worrying about social rules. The boy's mother approached me. "Hi, I'm Linda. This is my son Jake. He's autistic. I'm Sarah, and this is Maya. She's also autistic." "Jake rarely talks to other children like this," Linda commented, watching our kids. "It's amazing to see him so comfortable." Maya too. At school, she always feels pressured to act normal. Here, she can just be herself. We both watched as Maya and Jake continued talking, naturally moving from jellyfish to sharks, then to coral reefs. There was no judgment, no pressure to make appropriate eye contact or follow neurotypical social rules. They simply connected through shared interest. "Mom," Maya called, "Jake knows about brain coral as much as I do. Can I show him the shark exhibit?" It was the first time Maya had asked to spend more time with another child since she started therapy. Usually, she prefers short, controlled interactions. We spent the rest of the afternoon together. Linda told me that Jake had been diagnosed at 6, and also fought against accepting the diagnosis. He used to say he wasn't autistic, that the doctors were wrong. It took almost 2 years of family therapy for him to start accepting. "What changed?" I asked. Ironically, it was meeting other autistic boys. Jake realized he could be autistic and still be amazing, intelligent, and have genuine friendships. He stopped seeing autism as a flaw and started seeing it as part of his identity. I watched Maya and Jake exploring the coral reef exhibit, both stimulated by the repetitive movements of the fish and absorbed in their favorite facts. They were in perfect sync, without social masks or effort to conform. "Maya," I called when it was time to leave, "how did you feel talking to Jake?" "It was easy, Mom. He understands me." She paused, thinking. "He's also autistic, but he doesn't seem broken or sad. He seems ... normal." "Normal how?" "Normal for him. Like being autistic was okay for him." In the car back home, Maya was more talkative than usual. "Mom, Jake told me he has a group of autistic friends who meet every week to talk about special interests. They play games and watch science documentaries. That sounds fun. Would you like to meet them? Maybe. But Mom, if I went, would that mean I'm accepting that I'm autistic? Her question caught me by surprise. Maya was verbalizing for the first time the internal struggle between wanting connection and fearing the label. Maya, you've always been autistic, even when you didn't want to accept it. The difference is that now you can choose whether you want to isolate yourself because of it, or connect with people who understand you. Jake said that being autistic doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain works differently. And different types of brains do amazing things. What do you think about that? I think ... I think maybe he's right. Because today I had so much fun, and I didn't try to hide any part of me. I didn't have to pretend that loud noises don't bother me, or that I don't know everything about astronomy. Maya was quiet for a few minutes, then she asked, Mom, if I stop fighting against being autistic, can I still want some things to be easier? Of course, love. Accepting who you are doesn't mean you have to love all the difficult parts. It means you stop spending energy fighting against yourself, and start using that energy to find ways to navigate the world being exactly who you are. Like Jake does. Exactly like Jake does. And like you did today. Being completely Maya. No apologies. 3 days later, Maya surprised me during breakfast. Mom, can I call Jake? I want to know more about this group of autistic kids. It was the first time she used the word autistic to refer to a group she wanted to be part of, instead of a label she rejected. Of course, love. I'll get the number from Linda, and Mom. I was thinking, maybe we could talk to Dr. Martinez about how being autistic can be good too, not just about the difficult parts. My heart almost exploded with joy and hope. Maya wasn't just accepting her diagnosis. She was beginning to claim a positive autistic identity. That sounds like an amazing conversation to have, Maya. That night, I found Maya in her room, writing in her diary. On the open page, I read, Today, I met Jake. He showed me that being autistic can mean being special, in a good way. Maybe I can be autistic and happy at the same time. It was the beginning of a new Maya, one who was learning that acceptance didn't mean resignation, but rather self-compassion and community. Mom, I'm nervous. Maya held my hand tighter than usual as we walked toward the community center in Andersonville, where Jake and his friends met weekly. It had been 3 weeks since our aquarium encounter, and Maya had finally decided to meet the group. It's normal to be nervous before meeting new people, I replied. But remember how you felt talking to Jake. Easy. Natural. She took a deep breath. But what if the others don't like me? What if I don't know how to act? Maya, the beauty of this group is that you don't need to act any specific way. You can just be you. The group was called Saturday Science Squad and met at the community library every week. When we arrived, we found 6 children between 9 and 14 years old sitting in a circle, each with their own fidgets, headphones, or other comfort objects. Jake waved at Maya with a genuine smile. Everyone, this is Maya, I told you about. She knows everything about astronomy. A curly-haired girl, appearing to be about 10, looked directly at Maya. Hi Maya, I'm Emma. Do you know about supermassive black holes? And so began one of the most animated conversations I'd ever seen Maya have. Within 5 minutes, she was at the center of a fascinating discussion about astrophysics. Each child contributing knowledge from their special interest areas. Sarah, the group facilitator and mother of one of the boys, explained the dynamic to me. We don't force typical social interactions. We let them connect naturally through shared interests. It's incredible how they flourish when there's no pressure to mask autistic behaviors. I watched Maya throughout the entire session. She swayed slightly while talking, something she always tries to suppress at school. She made eye contact only when she wanted to, not because it was socially expected. She spoke at length about her favorite topics without worrying about giving equal time for others to speak. And for the first time in years, she seemed completely relaxed in a social environment. "Mom, can I come back next week?" Maya asked on the way home, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Of course. How did you feel?" "Different, but different good." She paused, searching for the right words. You know when you try to fit a puzzle piece in the wrong place and you keep forcing it, but it doesn't fit. At school, I always feel like I'm the wrong piece trying to fit in. But today, I felt like I found the right place in the puzzle. Her analogy moved me deeply. Maya was discovering that the problem wasn't with her, but with trying to fit into spaces that weren't designed for her type of brain. The following weeks brought visible changes. Maya began talking about my autistic friends with pride instead of shame. Emma taught her about marine biology, Alex shared knowledge about trains, and Marcus introduced her to basic programming. Each child had their own sensory and communicative quirks, but they all accepted each other without judgment. Maya seems much happier lately, Ms. Johnson commented during a school meeting. She's been more participative in classes and less anxious during transitions. She found her community, I explained. For the first time, she has friends who understand her experiences and don't make her feel like she needs to hide. The real turning point came during a group field trip to the Museum of Science and Industry. Maya was explaining a solar system exhibit to some younger children when one of them asked, "Why do you know so much about space?" "Because I'm autistic," Maya answered naturally, and autistic kids often have super intense special interests. "Mine is astronomy." I was stunned. It was the first time Maya used her diagnosis as a positive explanation for her abilities, instead of an excuse for her difficulties. Later, she told me, "Mom, I realized that when I say I'm autistic, I'm not saying there's something wrong with me. I'm explaining why I can do certain amazing things that other kids can't." The transformation wasn't instant or perfect. Maya still had difficult days, still got dysregulated by loud noises, still felt afraid of dogs. The difference was that now she saw these difficulties as manageable parts of who she was, instead of evidence that she was broken. "Mom, can I ask you something?" Maya said one night before bed. "Of course, love." "Why did it take me so long to accept that I'm autistic?" "Because our society is still learning that different types of brains are valuable. You absorbed messages that being autistic was something bad, so you naturally resisted the label. But now I know it's not bad. It's just different." "Exactly. And different can be incredibly valuable." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You know what I realized? When I stopped trying not to be autistic, I had so much more energy to be good at being autistic." Her reflection showed me profound wisdom. Maya discovered that self-acceptance wasn't about accepting limitations, but about stopping wasting energy fighting against herself. "Maya, I'm so proud of how you've grown and learned about yourself. Mom, thank you for never giving up on me, even when I was being difficult about therapy. You were never difficult, love. You were protecting your heart while trying to understand who you are. That's brave, not difficult." That night, I read a new entry in her diary. I discovered I have a tribe. We're all different, but different in similar ways. I don't need to pretend to be normal anymore, because normal for me is being autistic, and that's perfectly fine. It was official. Maya had found her positive autistic identity. 6 months after Maya met Jake and his tribe, our life had changed in ways I never imagined possible. It was a Tuesday in October, and we were in Dr. Martinez's waiting room, but this time, Maya had asked to come. "Dr. Martinez," Maya said as soon as we entered the office, "I have some things to talk to you about being autistic." The doctor smiled, clearly surprised by the change in attitude. "I'm eager to hear, Maya. First, I want you to know that I'm not going to try not to be autistic anymore. I discovered that's impossible and wastes a lot of energy." Maya spoke with the confidence of a child who had reached an important conclusion after months of reflection. "That's very mature of you. How did you come to that conclusion?" "Because I met other autistic boys and girls, and they showed me that I can be autistic and happy at the same time. Before I thought I had to choose. Either be autistic or be normal. But now I know that normal for me is being autistic." Dr. Martinez looked at me with an expression that said, "This is exactly what we hoped to achieve after years of therapy." Maya continued, "But I have some new rules about therapy. I want to learn things that help me live better being autistic, not things that try to make me less autistic. Can you give me examples?" "Yes, I want to learn tricks to not be so scared of dogs, because I love going to the zoo. I want to learn how to explain to other people about my headphones without feeling embarrassed. And I want to learn how to make friends with kids who aren't autistic too, not just with my science group." I was impressed with the clarity of Maya's goals. She had completely changed from how to stop being autistic to how to be the best autistic version of myself. "Those are excellent goals, Maya. I'm very proud of you." "Thank you." "And Dr. Martinez, I want my mom to stop worrying so much about me. She gets sad when she thinks I'm suffering, but most of the time, I'm not suffering. I'm just being myself." My heart tightened. Maya had noticed the emotional weight I'd carried for years, constantly worrying about whether she was happy, whether she was developing appropriately, whether I was making the right choices. Maya's right, I admitted. I spent too much time focusing on what she couldn't do, instead of celebrating everything she does incredibly well. "Mom, you did your best. But now that I'm not fighting against myself anymore, you can stop fighting too." Dr. Martinez smiled. "Maya, it seems like you've become your own therapist. That's exactly what we hope to achieve. Self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and self-advocacy skills." In the following weeks, I witnessed subtle but significant changes in Maya's behavior. At school, when another student asked why she wore headphones during recess, she replied, "Because my ears are super sensitive. It's one of the things that comes with being autistic. Like glasses for people who don't see well." During a trip to Millennium Park, when a golden retriever approached, Maya didn't panic. She took a deep breath, held my hand, and said calmly, "Mom, can I stay behind you until he passes? I'm not ready to be close to dogs yet, but I don't need to run away." It was real progress, not elimination of fear, but healthy management of it. The most exciting moment came during the school talent show. Maya decided to give a talk about why different brains make the world more interesting. She spoke for 10 minutes about how neurodiversity contributes to scientific innovations, unique art, and valuable perspectives in society. "I'm autistic," she told the audience of parents and students, "and that means my brain works differently. Some might think that's bad, but I discovered it's actually a superpower. I can focus intensely on things I love, memorize complex information, and notice details that other people miss. The world needs all kinds of brains to solve big problems." The audience was silent for a moment, then burst into applause. Several families approached afterward to ask questions about autism. And one mother told me her daughter had been recently diagnosed, and she was hoping to find hope in stories like Maya's. On the way home, Maya was beaming. "Mom, you know what I realized? When I stop hiding who I am, I can help other people understand." "How so?" "Before, I was embarrassed when I used my headphones, or when I knew very detailed answers to simple questions. Now, when I do these things naturally, other people can see that being autistic isn't scary. It's just different." Maya had become not just an advocate for herself, but an ambassador for neurodiversity in her school community. A few months later, we received a special invitation. The Saturday Science Squad had been invited to present a project at the Chicago Children's Museum about young neurodiverse scientists. Maya was helping organize an exhibit about how different types of brains contribute to scientific discoveries. "Mom, do you remember when I used to cry every time someone used the word autistic to talk about me?" Maya asked while we prepared materials for the exhibit. "I remember. You said you didn't want to be labeled. Now I realize the problem wasn't the label. It was that I didn't understand what it really meant. I thought it meant broken or less capable. But now I know it means unique brain with special abilities." "What was the biggest difference for you?" "Finding other kids like me. When I saw that they were happy, intelligent, and proud of who they were, I realized I could be too." Maya paused, organizing posters about famous scientists who were probably autistic. "Einstein, Tesla, Temple, Grandin. You know what else, Mom? Now when I have difficult days, when noises are too loud or when I get overwhelmed, I don't think something's wrong with me. I think it's just a tough day, and tomorrow will be better." That was exactly it. Maya had learned the difference between having challenges and being a problem. Her difficult days were no longer evidence of inadequacy, but rather normal parts of navigating the world with an autistic brain. "Maya, I'm so proud of who you've become. Mom, thank you for loving me even when I was rejecting an important part of who I am. And thank you for never giving up on helping me find my place in the world." That night, while Maya slept, I went into her room and saw a new diary entry on her desk. "Today, I realized that being autistic isn't something that happened to me. It's something I am, and I'm amazing." I kept that phrase in my heart as a reminder that the journey of acceptance isn't about learning to tolerate our differences, but about learning to celebrate them. A year has passed since Maya first said, "I am autistic," without sadness or shame in her voice. It's a Sunday morning in our Lincoln Square home, and Maya is in the backyard watching birds through binoculars, a new special interest she developed after learning about ornithology at the Science Museum. "Mom, come see. There's a female cardinal building a nest in our oak tree," Maya calls out, excited. Her ability to focus intensely and notice details that others miss continues to amaze me daily. As I watch Maya in her natural element, completely absorbed, happy, without social masks, I reflect on everything we've learned in this journey. The child who used to say, "I'm not autistic," now plans to study marine biology in college, specifically because she wants to use her autistic brain to make important scientific discoveries. "Maya," I call softly, "can I ask you something?" "Sure, Mom." She lowers the binoculars but continues watching the cardinal. "If you could go back in time and choose not to be autistic, would you?" Maya is quiet for a long moment, seriously considering the question. "No," she finally responds. "Because being autistic made me who I am. Without autism, I wouldn't have my incredible memory for scientific facts. I wouldn't have my ability to focus deeply on things I love. and I probably wouldn't have developed so much empathy for other people who feel different. What about the difficult days? The anxiety attacks? The sensitivity to noises? Those are part of it too. I learned that I can have bad days without being a bad person. And I learned tools to handle them better. She points to the noise-canceling headphones hanging around her neck. Besides, Mom, everyone has difficult days. Mine are just difficult in a different way. Her emotional maturity constantly surprises me. Maya has developed a deep understanding of herself that many adults take decades to achieve. The phone rings, interrupting our conversation. It's Linda, Jake's mom. Sarah, I have incredible news. The Saturday Science Squad project was selected for presentation at the National Neurodiversity in Education Conference. Does Maya want to participate? Maya, who heard the conversation, jumps with excitement. Mom, can I? It would be amazing to show other families that autistic kids can be happy and successful. 3 months later, we're in an auditorium in Washington, D.C., watching Maya and 5 other young autistic people present their project, Different Brains, Incredible Discoveries, to an audience of educators, therapists, and families from across the country. My name is Maya Chen. She begins speaking clearly into the microphone. And I am proudly autistic. The phrase that would once have been unthinkable now sounds natural and confident. When I was 8 years old, I hated being autistic. I thought it meant I was broken. My parents took me to therapists, and I resisted because I didn't want to accept that I needed fixing. Maya looks at me in the audience and smiles. But I discovered that the problem wasn't me being autistic. It was that no one had taught me that being autistic could be something good. Maya continues explaining how finding her community changed her perspective. She talks about the importance of positive autistic role models, about schools that celebrate neurodiversity instead of just tolerating it, and about how therapies should focus on teaching children to navigate the world being autistic, not trying to make them less autistic. If you're an autistic child hearing this, I want you to know, your brain isn't wrong. It's different, and different is valuable. You can be autistic and be happy, intelligent, creative, and everything you want to be. Her voice gets stronger. And if you're a parent of an autistic child, the best gift you can give your kid is to learn to love and celebrate who they really are. The audience rises in prolonged applause. I see tears in the eyes of several families, especially mothers who probably identify with our journey. After the presentation, we're approached by dozens of families. A mother of a recently diagnosed 6-year-old grabs my hands. Thank you for sharing your story. My daughter is going through the same struggle Maya went through, and I was losing hope. You showed me this can have a happy ending. A 15-year-old approaches Maya. Thank you for talking about autistic pride. I'm in high school, and still hide my diagnosis from friends. You inspired me to be more open about who I am. On the flight back to Chicago, Maya is quiet, processing the experience. Finally, she says, "Mom, you know what I realized today?" "What, love?" "Our story isn't just about me learning to accept being autistic. It's about you learning too. And about how our whole family got stronger when we stopped fighting against who I am and started celebrating." She's right. Maya's journey wasn't just about self-acceptance. It was about our entire family learning that neurodiversity is a gift, not a problem to be solved. Maya, if you could give advice to other families at the beginning of this journey, what would it be? That acceptance doesn't mean giving up on dreams. It means trading unrealistic dreams for even better and more authentic ones. She pauses, looking out the airplane window, and that the most important thing is finding your tribe. people who understand and accept you exactly as you are. If you're a parent navigating this journey with your autistic child, remember, acceptance is a process, not a destination. There will be difficult days, but there will also be moments of discovery, pride, and deep joy. Your child doesn't need to be cured. They need to be understood, supported, and celebrated for who they really are. Neurodiversity isn't a problem to be solved, but a gift to be developed. Your family can not only survive this journey, but thrive in ways you never imagined possible. Today, Maya is 10 years old and is an eloquent advocate for neurodiversity, a scientist in training, and a girl who knows exactly who she is. She still has days of sensory dysregulation, still needs special accommodations, is still working to overcome her fear of animals. The difference is that now she sees these challenges as manageable parts of her unique identity, not as evidence of inadequacy. Our story continues every day, but now it's a story of celebration, not struggle. Maya found her tribe, her voice, and her place in the world. And I learned that being a mother to an autistic child isn't about shaping her to fit into the world. It's about helping her find the spaces where she can shine exactly as she is. Autism didn't steal my daughter. It gave me Maya, curious, empathetic, brilliant, determined, and perfectly herself. And I wouldn't trade this Maya for any other version in the world. If this story touched you, remember, the neurodiversity journey doesn't end here. Just as Maya found her voice, thousands of other children and families are still looking for theirs. By sharing this video, you can be the bridge that brings hope to another home. So hit that subscribe button right now, so you don't miss the next chapters of this incredible series. Ring the notification bell to get our future stories delivered straight to you. And smash that like button if you believe every child deserves to be celebrated for who they truly are. And here's something even more powerful. Drop a comment below telling us which part of Maya's journey hit you the hardest. Your words could be the lifeline another family desperately needs right now. Your voice counts, your engagement changes lives. And together we're building a world where acceptance isn't just a nice idea, but the new normal.